Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Java Delight. Whether you're starting your day, whether you're in the middle of your day, or maybe you're just like our Ilse at the end of your day, you are joining us today for a shot of Java and a spreading of delight. Thank you for joining us. My name is Brandon Croucher, and this is the Queen of South Africa, Miss Ilse. Ilse, how are you?
I am so tired.
You look like you
It's been a long day. I have been out of my house since 7 o'clock this morning. As you can see, I have not been back there yet. It's been a rush the whole day, but it's been amazing. And my daughter got her learners, so we celebrated in the car on our way here.
She passed it.
Yes. So she's got her learners now. Now she can learn how to drive a vehicle.
Are you not excited to teach her?
No, I'm not teaching. Kyle, her boyfriend, he's got a lot of patience with her, so he will. He's got the honors of teaching her, but she's like, "Mom, I've got my learners. Can I drive?" I'm like, "Fuck no, we're late."
Fuck no, we're late.
It's like, sorry, not today. I know you're legal now, but I do not have the time right now. Because
Right.
And then I'm just going to get upset at everything. So I said next time. She goes, "Oh, okay." So we've been up and down the whole morning or the whole day.
Up and down the whole day. There goes my Buddha. Sorry, I was trying to move my coffee mug so I wouldn't spill it on my computer, and then I knocked over Buddha. I don't know if that's...
Sorry, Buddha.
Actually, do you want to know something really cute? So
Please.
My mom and I were sitting, and my mom and I, one of us wakes up, the other one feeds the animals, and then literally goes and we'll drink coffee and have a morning conversation, just my mom and I. It's fun.
Nice.
9 out of 10 times her and I sit there and we just stare into the bird feeders, and we wait for the birds to come down and like all this other stuff. So we have 2 hummingbird feeders and 2 regular bird feeders, and then a bunch of like squirrel things to get squirrels to come over because I need my family, and what happened is...
Your adopted family.
My adopted family. The squirrels take me for a run. But what's funny about it is that, like, this morning, the more we've been out there, the longer we sit and, like, just sit there quietly, the hummingbirds get more and more, like closer to us. This morning, now there's nice hummingbirds and there's mean hummingbirds, apparently.
Oh, I don't know. Get 2 sorts.
Yes. Oh, Ilse. So they sit on this thing and they're like eating their sugar water, and then they turn around and one of them, this bright red one, comes flying in and knocks it off the feeder. Like, for real, like they're fighting. It's like, what the? So my God. I read "Oh my God" squirrels comment and started laughing. Sorry. So I literally, my mom and I are sitting there and we're watching these things just, and they don't really make a lot of noise, but when they do, it's like really interesting. Like, and I'm
You think
oh.
they were trying to mate and you were in their space?
So I would wonder that because I'm sitting behind a bush, like I'm just like behind it, holding my coffee, just like all like creepily, like, watching from the window, watching it in the window, watching birds mate. It's my favorite pastime. But like for real, they're doing this. And then this morning, my mom's just sitting there. And she's all nice and quiet, and she's just... And then all of a sudden, this hummingbird flies in, like, for real, Ilse, within 3 feet, stops on a dime directly in front of her, looks at her, and then flies away. And we're both
wow, that's so amazing.
And we both said that. Then the red one, that's the big ass bully, he comes in, he hits the other one, and looks at me. I'm like, is he gonna fight me? Like, is this red bird ready to? I stand up, he flies away. I'm like, I better watch out. This one might actually come at me. He looks like he'd be like.
There's some crazy birds in South Africa as well. There where Carl's mom and them live. Their neighbor have a Indian myna. Indian myna. It's the kind of bird. It's the type of bird, but it's a wild bird, but it can talk very beautifully if you catch it and everything. And this one lives with the neighbors, and he attacks the people in the yard, like steals their cigarette, drinks their beer, sits on your, like climbs on your head. On my TikTok, I've got a video where we had a party there, and then this bird just came there and stole the people's cigarettes and everything. His name's Elvis.
The bird's name is Elvis?
The bird's name is Elvis.
That is unbelievably hilariously awesome. I love it.
Yeah, so everybody gets a turn because he like climbs on my arm, and then he like jumps to the other person, and he goes wherever. But you can't catch him. He just like sits on your shoulder and everything.
Have you ever had a bird bite you?
Yes, I think no. A bird bit my daughter before. I was thinking that was a couple of Decembers ago. My daughter was still small. I think she was born in January, so she was about 9 months, the youngest one, and we went on holiday. And at this one place where you can play with little lion cubs as well. We've got photos where we were playing with little lion cubs and stuff. There's these. It's almost like an African grey, or not an African grey. That macaws is it macaw from Brazil?
Oh, macaw.
Like yes, macaw. Is it macaw? Okay,
I'm gonna give it to you. You're close enough.
That bird. And it says there, don't put your finger in there, it bites. And she literally put her finger in there and the thing bit. And I'm like, did I do that?
Oh my gosh, that'd be so like.
Yeah.
So I hate birds. Like, just being honest, I'm not a fan of them. I saw the movie Birds at a young age and got very scared, and like it became like a phobia of mine. But the thing is, I've known my aunt had a pet bird. My ex-wife's grandparents had pet birds, and I don't know what it is, but dogs love me. Cats love me. Sharks love you. But for me, I go out and I'm like sitting at these people's houses. Only you. Sharks swim. Ilse jumps off their nose. We know how it goes. But like, they literally, these birds who I don't know what I did to the bird community. I am sorry. Okay, publicly I apologize to all birds. I am the guy who gets pooped on anytime we're out. Like, if you and I
it's
go
happened
to
me before as well, but apparently I get good luck.
Yeah. Brandon hates women in the UK. What? Why? What? What?
What did you do, Mike? What did he do?
Yeah, Mike, tell us a story. What did I do? I'm running on 0 sleep, so I apologize in advance for any goofy comments on the forthcoming. Good luck today. Oh, woodpecker tongue wraps around its brain?
What?
Like, you just floored me. Stuart, are you serious, Stuart? Like, I had no idea. That's fascinating. It wasn't watching your old bird. I love Ilse's like polite laugh. All right, guys, do me a favor. Say hello. Tell us where you are. Tell us hello. Tell us where you're at this morning, how you're doing. Just give us a good hello, and Ilse and I will read through the comments today. We have Brett Gordon coming up in just a little bit. And he
83 in one day.
83 in one day. He's actually going to be coming on, and we're going to be talking about different, like, we're going into the Disney thing for a little bit. We're going to dive into this for his One Score at a Time show. And we had something new this past week. We talked about the classic movies. So like Cinderella, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. And then they turn around and they made a live action one. So you have the cartoon and the live action. We're going to pick a movie to debate Bird is a term for woman in the UK. Oh, I didn't know that. Did you know that, Elsa?
I did.
I know it's flipping the bird. So I honestly, Mike, you just taught me something too. I didn't
It's
know
like
that.
the F word. It can go for anything.
Yes. So with that, we're going to talk to Brett about the difference between the live action and the cartoon, and we want to hear your opinions. Like, so have some fun with us today. Make sure to jump in there if you have a Disney movie that you prefer one over the other. I know Beauty and the Beast is a fun topic. I know Little Mermaid is a really sensitive topic for a lot of people. It's where they talk about the fact that the cartoon is one and the live action's going to be a totally different one. So what movie is your Disney movie that you like? I'm a huge Aladdin fan, and I am not a big fan of the remake. The Mulan cartoon, don't like it all, but I think the live action is, with no songs, no nothing, if it wasn't Mulan, was a good movie. So join our conversation. Tell Brett what you think. Tell us exactly where this all can go and which one's your favorite live action to cartoon and which one they did the best. We're going to have some fun with this conversation this week. Ilse, Lion King. Did they make a live action Lion King? They did.
They
yes.
did.
I have not seen that.
It's not the same. It's not the same because I grew up with Lion King. I grew up with Aladdin. I watched Aladdin when there was still drive-ins.
Yeah,
now where I watched it, there's a casino. It's like I used to watch Aladdin here at the drive-in.
The toad's tongue moves at 0.7 seconds, 5 times faster than a blink of an eye. What? So, and no, Lion King it is not the same. I 100% agree with you guys because I've not seen it, but I do know that Aladdin wasn't the same. They tried to use some of the songs, and
but that came closer than most of them. I think it came a little bit closer than most of them.
Okay, but wouldn't you? And this is me just asking: is it supposed to mimic it, so it's just like a live action from the cartoon, or do you prefer it being its own thing?
I think that is what you expect when you go and watch it. Your expectations for this, because you like the old ones so much, and I think you I mean, that's why kids watch these movies over and over. They feel comfortable with them. So the ones that you've watched and you feel comfortable and you know off by heart, when it's not the same, it's like, okay, this doesn't work for me, because I don't think you feel as comfortable with it as you would if they maybe made a direct copy just with better graphics or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I would you watch it if they remade a cartoon though?
Like Tom and Jerry or something like that.
Sure. Tom and Jerry's one, but like if you were like, okay, so let's say they were to take a live action movie and turn it into a cartoon. Is there a movie you'd like to see like that? Like,
well, they did that with Spider-Man, but they actually made a cartoon, but a video on Netflix that I watched, which was very good. They had Post Malone music in there and everything, and that was a good one, a good cartoon to watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Spider-Man cartoon, and that's mainly for I watched the Tobey Maguire one back in the day, and I enjoyed.
I'm a big fan of him.
I am, because I look like him when I have a wig on.
Oh, okay.
Is that fair? Like that?
Okay. I'll give you that.
A lot of people don't like doing the upside down kiss, especially when they don't know you. So, like, I'm randomly popping up places. You know, like it explains why I've been beaten up so many times in life. You know. Elsa, so what else did you get into yesterday, and how have you been having such a great week?
I have been having a week that has just been flowing into being busy the whole time.
Yeah.
And I finally signed all my papers at work. So from tomorrow, there's no going back there. So I got off the hamster wheel. Now we fuel our life with faith and everything that we want to do. So this is a big step for me today. I am looking back at 3 years ago and even 5 years ago. I've got a lot of memories on Facebook popping up. of where and I see when it pops up, I know exactly in what mood I was when I took that photos, or who I spent with, or who I posted that post for, or whatever, and just dealing with all that emotions, having cut out so many people and lost so many people that or lost a couple of people that I will never talk to again because of the COVID and everything. I mean, it's been tough. And I just sat there this morning and I thought, this is the last day. I can't wait to move into my place tomorrow. Um, I can go fetch my washing tomorrow morning, pack my, because I want to go wash my car. Then I have to rush there, put my stuff in. Luckily, it's just my clothes and my bedding and a little bit of stuff for my tarot cards and stuff like that. That I
Yeah.
just, all this nitty gritty things that I always carry with me. So just backing out that, and then 12 o'clock we've got we're doing the Stone Daisies podcast because the person that we're interviewing can't do it on Wednesday. Tomorrow, so
Oh.
can't do it in the evenings. They can only do it during the day.
And now, which
So
interview was this? Because you had a exciting one coming up. I know you were really excited for
yes,
the one the other day.
that one we hopefully we have rearranged our stuff. We're gonna start off our second season, which is beginning of October, because we're only doing 10 episodes at a time. So
Okay.
right now the guys are already starting to play live shows. We've got a show on Saturday. We've got a show on Friday. And then there's a festival coming up where the guys are going to play and everything. So now it's focusing on that. And then the song is going to hit. There's so many things that's starting to happen, and we're still getting our name out there. So it's sending our episodes around to people. People probably think I'm crazy because they just get a random post here from some girl, and then everybody sends exclamation marks, and I'm like, I'm not going to answer you. Click on the link. Not rocket science. I don't want to talk to you. Just click on the link.
Just click on the link and see what we're doing here. Like, don't try to change how our system works.
So I'm very excited to just have all my time for myself and my passion, that doing things that I like, and being happy while I do it, and helping the people around me, forming bonds with them and everything. So I'm grateful. I can't wait. I made a video driving down this road. It's got the most beautiful trees with the most beautiful pink little flowers. You can see it's spring, and tomorrow is the 1st of spring in South Africa. So spring has sprung. The weather is so amazing today. You have no idea. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm all sweaty. I just want to take my jacket off because it's so hot. It's been so hot the whole day. Awesome weather. The greens are coming out. I mean, it's just
Behind
beautiful.
you looks incredible. It looks beautiful behind you.
Right?
Like, for real, I'm envious.
You might hear crying baby birds because it's in the afternoon. So it's those crazy birds. They called hadidas.
Yeah, hadidas.
Yes, they called hadidas. So what they do is, in the morning and in the afternoon late, in the morning early, like 5, 6 o'clock, those things land on your roof, and they're quite big. I mean, they're almost as big as ducks. So then they make this noise, and they're like 10 or 11, just land like that, and then make these noises. And then every time the kids go, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's hadidas." Do you know why they're screaming? And they go like, "No." I said, "Because they're afraid of heights."
We're just going to leave that where you said it, because that was a good one. Well done, Elsa. Well done. That joke nailed it. You lined it up.
But you will hear them. I'll try and mute them out but there's a palm tree here, so they go sit in the palm tree and then bake in the sun, and then just the whole day. And it's an irritating noise. Oh my word.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. I 100% think that is like
How was
funny.
your day yesterday? My birdies.
I had a very long day yesterday. I have to be honest. I'm bipolar, and while I'm getting through things, there's days that I haven't put a lot of my personal life up lately. I say it here, like sporadically, and like I'll drop like little things, but like like I had some family stuff happen this weekend, and after my cousin passed and everything else, it's just been, there's a lot of personal emotions being brought in, and then there's the work emotions that happen, and then there's just like you said, having faith. I have faith that it's going to work out. I did Kathy's class this morning.
Thank you. Hopefully from next Tuesday, because then I'm at home. Kathy, I am definitely there because then there's no rushing around. Our Stone Daisy podcast is finished. I can just chill I'm there.
Oh, you're not going to chill there. You're not going to chill. I'll tell you right now. She did all these things. We were doing taps for our livers. We were doing taps. And then she's like, all right, everybody do like this, like beat, like the monkeys and this. And I'm doing all these things. And then I had to go to get like a few minutes early to get here to make sure I had everything ready. But like, she had so many people participating that when you heard everybody laughing, it was really cute because it was like all over the world. She had like guys older than my dad on video going like, whoo, whoo, and I'm sitting there going, this is so awesome and funny at the same time, and I'm not laughing at them, but like I'm laughing because we're supposed to laugh.
You're having fun. And
it was such a great time.
The point is to laugh. And I think everybody that's there, they don't care if you laugh at them.
No, they were having so much fun, and I was like so grateful that I got to try that class out. So guys, I recommend next Tuesday we'll share a link to be able to have everybody join us, and we could just get as many people as we can there. It's not even a whole half hour. It's like today she had a song in the middle where we all danced. Let's just say I literally was dancing like no one was watching, not realizing Brett Gordon was in the background watching me. I'm like, and then Brett, all of a sudden I tune in and I switch over. I'm like, I got to get ready. And I like, fill the Zoom room. Yes, exactly. We should have everybody filling the Zoom room. And Kathy, thank you for inviting us. Like I 100% had so much fun. Like the room was just full of laughter. It was good energy. It was nice to be able to start the day with such a different way. Between my mom having a hummingbird like come up and kiss her. I have a question. What does it mean when a bee lands on your nose? Is that good luck?
No, it just shows you that in most situations you can sort it out without violence.
Oh wow. Because I have there's an
X-rated one with that, but I had to keep it PG. But it works the same. Yes, but I'll type it in the comments. I won't say it out loud. It just says if a mosquito lands. It says if a mosquito lands where it's not supposed to land. And that's when you find out that you can solve any situation without violence.
I love it. I agree. I will go with that. Guys, by the way, guys, we're at 296 subscribers. We are 4 away from 300. If you know somebody, please hit the subscribe button. Share this to a friend, especially anybody that maybe needs to start their day with a positive mindset. Look, I don't come into here every day jumping into a positive mindset. Ask Brett Gordon. He hates dealing with me because I'm psycho. He's like, God, Brandon. It's like he's happy 1 minute, next. Yeah, hey, I'm diagnosed crazy. Let's have some fun with it. So for me, it's one of these things where I come here and I love having everybody there with us. So do me a favor, tell your friends, hit the subscribe, hit the like, leave a comment. I see all these other YouTubers say this. They scroll it across the screen. They're yelling things at you. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. And I'm sitting there going, I know people don't like hearing that every 5 seconds, so I'm not going to do that. So here's where I could use some help is the community that we have. You guys are amazing individuals. We thank you for all being with us and wanting the best for yourself. So if you are getting something from our community and you are enjoying what it is, don't forget to share it with a friend. Tell them, hey, hit the subscribe button. I think that your mornings will start better just by starting it with people who want to make you happy. Because Ilse and I just try to fill each other with good things. By the way, Ilse, I sent you a message yesterday asking you for a phone call. I know you did.
I only saw it 7 o'clock this morning.
Yes.
So I don't know what time did you send it, because you sent it 12 o'clock my time. It was already midnight.
See, but that's not true. That's not true. I sent it literally because you're 6 hours ahead. I sent it at 11 o'clock my time. And when I saw that it didn't send
it's 23, that's right. It's 23.
And so you and I are going to talk after this because I have questions. You're wanting to move here to the US, correct? How does that work though? Yes. Unless you have a work visa or anything like that. Like, how could you come here and like, what are you thinking is the there's people wanting to leave the US now, and you're on the opposite end going, no, I'm here. Like, no, honey, I'm good. I'm coming to the USA because I should. That's not the words of the song.
I never intend to play. To play. Do you see now my Afrikaans jumps into the sentence?
I literally stopped.
My intention is never to stay in one place for very long. I think I've always been a gypsy on the move, meeting people. My plan is to come to America because I've always wanted to come there. I always wanted, it's just always been, I mean, I was a couple of years old and I told my mom that I want to be a Navy SEAL because I want to I've always just wanted to come to the US. So last year or the year before, I actually, when all this shit in South Africa started, where they started, blaming, me for apartheid. I know what my forefathers did. I know that I am not the same. But then you get attacked and you're told that you're not supposed to be in this country. And I mean, I was born here. My mom was born here. My grandfather was born here. So, yes, he was born here. So we were brought here. But I always said I want to go home. I've always felt as if I haven't found my home yet and my people because of how my past and all those things. So I've always wanted to go. So I don't know if I'm going permanently. So what I did is I applied for a B2 visa.
Okay.
And that's a holiday visa for 6 months.
Okay.
Yes, for 6 months, I think a max a year. I've done so much research because I started applying on LinkedIn for jobs. I don't have a degree. I only have high school, but I've got about 12, 13, almost 15 years experience in sales, working myself up with doing courses on Pastel. I've worked on CISPRO. I've worked on a lot of programs and stuff, being internal sales and then moving on to external sales and everything, and just building relationships, moving from one company to another. I'm a quiet taste. Not a lot of people like me because I'm straightforward. I do not hide my feelings. I'm a very emotional person. So if I feel that you just make me, you're not fair, I'm gonna just say my say. And I don't like when people bully me, so I tell you immediately, I think you're a bully, because I don't lie to people about my feelings, and the reason for that is I can't control how you react to my feelings, but I will not be bullied. So if you say something and I express my emotions to you, and a lot of people that are in power don't like that. So I started working for a steel company and I met all the people that I said goodbye to now at a previous steel company. And then the steel company closed right after I got married. I got married the January, when we came back from honeymoon, before my daughter was born about 6 years ago. They told us the company closed down. So we must find another job. And then Max Steel, I think you've got a Max Steel in America as well. So I worked for a branch, Max Steel, in Ruderkop, Germiston. So they bought over all our plates and everything. And I was the only person that they gave a job to out of all the people there. And I took it, but my boss and them started their own company. And I said, well, come fetch me when you're ready, because I've got kids and everything. I need to look after my income. And I don't know, I wasn't there long. I think just over a year. And then I left them and went to work for Steelox. So for the same bosses that I worked for the previous company. So we've known each other. Some of them I've known 10 years, some of my customers 10 years. So it's been an emotional time because I was driving the other day and I thought these people have no idea what an impact they had on my life, because they were the people that I have spent most time with, more time than my kids. And because I'm such an emotional person, they know all my life. I tell people my life. I don't care if they're going to judge me. Say what you say. That was me. That was my choices. I do not hang with people I do not vibe with. So I do not have a lot of friends.
That's okay. You don't need a lot of friends. You need the community.
Exactly. But because I'm too forward.
Don't worry about them. You have us now. You have the Delight community with you. We're taking over the world. Would you do me a favor?
So my plans are not, I don't know what my plans are. Right now I said, universe, this is where I want to go. I have manifested something. I want to do something I love for the rest of my life every day. I do not want a 9-to-5, but I'm passionate about promoting people and building brands from people and connecting people to things that they've worked on. And who's got a grasshopper?
No.
I just saw grasshopper and I'm like, wait.
I'll explain that later. That couldn't have gone better. That was funny. All right, Ilse, I need you to do me a favor. All right. First off, anybody that hasn't said hello, please throw your hellos in, because we're going to have Brett jump in our good mornings this morning. I want you to read this out loud while I bring in Mr. Brett Gordon. All right?
Okay. Be's symbolism and meaning is steeped in power, speaking to the sacred calling both of the individual and the collective. Are you shouldering heavy burdens? Do you need help pollinating new ideas and projects? Is your soul seeking a community to which you can belong? Be spirit as a spirit totem and power animal can help. B teaches you how your higher self is aiding you in a flight pattern that will land you smack dab in the sweetest of spots. Delve deeply in B symbolism and meaning.
And then there's more, but it didn't get all of it. So there was something.
I get goosebumps reading that. That is so beautiful.
What do you think on that, Brett? Like, that's kind of interesting. That happened this morning. You're muted, by the way. That happened this morning, and that's not the first time this week that a bee has landed on me. Over the weekend, I had multiple bees. I had one literally land on my hand while I was holding a cup and just sit there. And my mom was like, "Is he going to sting you?" I'm like, "No, I'm just not going to freak out. He's fine." She's like, "Yeah, but like, there's a bee. It doesn't matter. Like, if I don't get mad."
I got stung behind the ear by a bee. It's not fun.
No, but if you don't do anything and you don't have this, if we produce energy, if I'm calm, that energy is not going to make the bee think he needs to sting me and protect himself. So I just stay calm and they fly away. Like I'm not saying it works every time. I've been stung, but like, yeah, a bee was in my shirt on Sunday. What, Kathy? That bee was trying to cop a feel. That is not right. That is inappropriate. Boundaries, bees.
Boundaries.
Brett Gordon, I think that Kathy's comment right here, bees landed on Brandon because he's such a oh my God. The worst part is I was called that yesterday by someone that didn't even know about it. That's funny. Oh, that's funny.
Nothing wrong with being a delicate flower.
I apparently am a delicate flower. Brett and I were having a conversation before we went live. Brett, do you think that this has anything to do, like the bee landing on me and then Kathy explains us? What are your thoughts on that?
I was reading that and I was like, wow, that kind of ties into some of the things that are happening in your life right now. And, you shouldering heavy burdens, trying to, get to a particular path or direction and the higher self. So I think it's pretty interesting that it ties together. And then just because you're so sweet like honey, I guess that's why it all happens. Look at that. He puts a stinger up right away.
That's funny. No coincidence. Take notice. I am, Kathy. I did. I took very high notice of that.
Especially on the hummingbird as well. Hummingbirds are very sacred. Well, all animals are, but I know there's stuff connected to that as well. I'm not too clued up with how and what they all mean and everything, and I'm sure Kathy will know, but I know that's also
it's a thing. Like it has significance.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to say. Okay, but you were talking about the phone call.
No, don't worry about it. We're going to get back into it later. I had you set up for something, and then you talked to... I might have some good news. I might have something to talk to you about, and that's why I sent you a message. I didn't think you were going to be asleep at 11 o'clock at night your time, so I was trying to make... You said you didn't get it till midnight, so that's why I was like, oh, shit, maybe that's
I got it 4 o'clock No, I got it about 5 o'clock this morning, but I knew you were sleeping, so I only answered you at 7.
That makes 100% sense. I appreciate it. So Brett Gordon is with us, ladies and gentlemen. He's here to have some fun. Brett Gordon's favorite Disney movie is Hunchback of Notre Dame because it was made after replicating him. So, Brett, what does it feel to have the Hunchback of Notre Dame made after you?
I'm not too sure right now what you're talking about.
I don't understand. So, Brett, we have a bunch of Disney movies, in all seriousness, not picking on you, but that have been made into remakes, and they've been redone into live-action movies. Give me an idea. What should we be talking about? What should we be looking for with these?
You know, I don't know that we should have expectations, per se, as to what to look for when they do these types of things. I think the closer they try to keep it to the original animated, some people really like that, and others are like, it shouldn't have been that way. Kind of like Pete's Dragon, right? Pete's Dragon should have been called maybe A Boy and His Dragon as opposed to Pete's Dragon in the remake, because there really was no similarity other than the fact that there was a dragon and a boy, but the storyline and everything was completely different between the two movies. So I guess when you start setting expectations, which people are naturally going to have when they see, okay, I just took The Lion King and made it into this, new feature film with all the CGI and making it look like real lions and everything. And what kind of
whose cat did I hear? I just heard a meow.
That's one of those distant birds. They're on their way. Those ha-ha birds.
I'm sorry. It sounded like a cat. And I'm like, Brett, did you get a cat?
They can sound like cats. They can sound like crying, flying baby birds. Baby, they make horrible noises.
I can't get a cat or anything that's kind of associated with a cat.
Huh? There's a joke there. He's aligning a joke. He's aligning a joke. Don't give it to him. Don't give it to him. What? So why can't you have the pussy, Brett? Right when he took a drink, I knew where your joke was going. I knew it.
I'm slow today.
You're good. So, Brett, with this week, let's think. What Disney movie? I know Mulan is a sensitive topic, but I know Mulan was a movie that is a cartoon. I loved it. I did not like as a Disney movie, but I loved the live action. It was
Why did you not like Mulan?
I don't know. It just didn't click with me. It wasn't anything wrong with it. It's not like I'm sitting.
And that's just the opposite of me. I love the animated, and I did not like the live action or the
I
remake.
haven't watched the live action. Because people say Mushu is not in there, because that's what I don't like. Don't take the characters out.
I agree and disagree. Like you're
allowed on your opinion.
Yeah, you're allowed the wrong opinion. But my thing is, like, okay, so Mushu's not in it. Heard. Good, great, grand, whatever. But you have a war, and you have Yeah, I saw that, Elsa. Keep your clothes
so
on.
hot.
Don't be showing your tatas to Brett. I know that's how you
said
attract
you
the
wanted
birds.
4 subscribers.
Yeah, wait a second. I'm talking about these kinds of cat things, and then
I'm doing
what
my
does she
part
do?
on the channel for the extra 4 subscribers. I mean,
She's
sorry,
like, all right, we're
right
3 short,
now.
Brandon. I got us. Guys, make sure to share that link. Elsa says, here's how we get subscribers. Like, wow, she came out with that one, Elsa. And then she fixes herself right on. She's like, oh, here's the boob. That's the one. Meet Flora and
That's
Fauna.
not what happened.
Well, as long as a bee didn't sting it, you're okay.
Yeah, I'm curious if a bee would sting you.
Can we talk about Mulan, please?
Yes. So, all right. Why have you not seen it? Is it because they don't sing? Is it because they don't have Mushu in it? What have you done that makes you not like? I am so itchy. I'm sorry, guys. Why don't you like it?
First one is because Mushu is not in there. The comic timing of that little dragon is just the best. And my nickname, I actually got my nickname from my daughter. My name on her phone is Limp Noodle from the movie Mulan, because she always tells me you're a limp noodle. So, and they don't, the action one, I don't think has got the comedy and everything in.
It doesn't though.
No, so and that takes away because Mushu is such a big Mushu, and the granny that's so funny and everything. It just it's a yes. I mean it's a classic. It's really maybe I must watch it before I say it's not as good. But I think I'm a fan of the old one more.
Go ahead, Brett. I have my retort whenever you're ready.
Well, to me, you know, it was a completely different. Even genre of movie, really, because you went from a very comedic approach and funny approach, especially with like Mushu, to a much more serious approach to the movie. So I think that, you know, there's a completely different feel to it in just the way that they wrote the story and translated it into something that is more about a serious life and action type thing than more of the funny. So that's why I like the animated version. I saw Mulan and I was like, wow. I had to watch it a couple times if I even saw it once completely from end to end in one sitting. I'm not sure.
So I see Stuart's comment here. He says, "What about Jungle Book?" Now, I personally, I like Jungle Book, but I have not seen the live action one yet. If I go see the live action one, I'm not thinking I'm seeing the original. I'm not thinking I'm seeing the cartoon. So I guess that's where I separate myself from others on this. Is I'm not going into it thinking like when I saw Aladdin and they had like some of the songs, they didn't even have my favorite song in it. And I'm sitting there going like, this is why it is a different movie. And I have to understand that. But I didn't have the same connection with the characters. I didn't fear Jafar like I did the cartoon. Where Jungle Book, I want to connect with Babu. Or what's his name? Baloo.
Oh, Baloo.
Yeah. I want to connect with Baloo and want to be like, the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Yeah,
I want that.
But again, I think it's got to do with age, because I think that the older generation. I grew up with Aladdin. I grew up with Lion King. My youngest daughter actually got caught up on that. So since she could watch, that's about 4 years ago, she started watching that movie over and over. That's all that played on TV. Was the old Lion King and all that. So I don't have the necessity to go watch the new ones, because if you want to use Mulan or Aladdin, as you said, I feel you have to keep to the original. If you want to use, because if you
do you agree with that, Brett?
If you pull your old crowd. And the people that are fans of these movies and watch these movies, I think they're the ones that's disappointed.
Well, you know, you got a lot of things that also get tied into Jungle Book, because so many people have now said that, you know, the original Jungle Book had so many representations of racism and that kind of stuff. It was really yeah.
I didn't know this.
I think that, you know, there was a different day. It was a different time. We talked about that even when we did the comparison of Pete's Dragon. But, you know, there's definitely been questions about whether, you know, you should even show your kids the original Jungle Book because it's got these racist type characterizations.
But that doesn't mean everybody perceives it the same way. It's how open your mind is. I mean, it's just a movie.
Well, you know, in today's day and age, there's tremendous amount of thin skin, and trying to apply today's beliefs into yesterday's actions, and those things start to get really, really challenging. And that, you know, even in history or anything else. So I think that it's a great movie to be able to, you know, discuss or to challenge in the same kind of way that we did with Pete's Dragon. I think Mulan is another one that does lend itself to that. Lion King, and one that's even similar in terms of story, but not the same, is Maleficent.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know, so there's I personally think that the closer they try to stay to the old storyline is going to be great for some people and disappointing for others, because
you can't keep everybody happy.
You know, the same corniness of the animated, and sometimes that doesn't come through in a live, even if you try to keep the same storyline.
No, I could agree with that. I agree.
And you can't keep everybody happy. You can't keep everybody happy.
And you know, really, when you're making a movie, it really doesn't matter whether they're happy or not, as long as they watch it. So, exactly. You know, having something that's controversial is not necessarily bad, or because there's those that are going to watch it because they're going to try to point out why it sucked. And then there's those that are going to watch it because they want to enjoy it.
It's still a view. It's still a view, people.
So let me ask you this, Brett. With that being said, what do we choose for this week so we can have this debate? I think Jungle Book is a great topic. I think Maleficent is a great movie telling the other side of the story. I agree. I think that Lion King could be a good one. But we have the cartoon versus the live action. I could pick Aladdin, but I don't think that's going to win. So guide us a little bit here, Brett. Which ones, Elsa, you get a vote. What is our vote of what we should be looking into?
I also want to go with Aladdin. Because Aladdin is a difficult one for me because I like the real one. I watched it.
Yes.
I like that one and I like the original one. So those two are very close. So
interesting.
I also vote for Aladdin, yes.
Okay, so Aladdin has 2. What about Brett? Brett, what are you thinking?
I like Aladdin. I have watched the live version of Aladdin many, many times now. I actually put it on TV as I'm going to sleep because I know what it's going to be like. So it's more like white noise in the background, but it's a storyline that I think is also uplifting for the most part, and so that's a good thing for me to go to sleep with, because I like to, I do watch TV, have the TV on, and many people say that's terrible to do that all night long. But I'm either running like The Big Bang Theory, I'm watching Friends, or movies like Aladdin, because it's lighthearted or it's got a message to it that's empowering. And that way, when I'm sleeping subconsciously, you're also feeding that into your system. So I do that. I will never watch a horror movie or a shoot 'em up movie or anything like that that's got that would give me a negative kind of a feel.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Gordon. You're okay with Aladdin. We're going to have who's taking which side? We have to have the debate here.
Well, you already, I think, identified it. You said that you liked which version?
I like the original version. So that means you have to take
and
the live action.
I like the remake. I like it with Will Smith.
Oh, this is going to be an epic battle. So it's you versus me this time. And we're going to dive into the world of Aladdin. And you and I are going to be competing to see which one is better. Not that either of our opinions are correct, but it's meant to be able to see the difference in the movies and build out our leadership qualities with that. So, Brett, I look forward to challenging you on Thursday, my friend. You better be able to bring it, because I'm going to go watch both of them again. You guys ready for this? I actually have the original VHS. I don't. My mom and dad do. In their basement of the original boxed case of that movie with the diamond Disney standard. My parents have so much junk in their basement. Like they have, like, you know that song, I don't get me drunk off that trunk, all that junk inside your trunk. That whole song is written about how junk is in my parents' basement. It's like there is so much down there. And like when I say,
and there's another thing, with the meaning of you got your junk in my trunk really makes a big difference in today's world.
Wow. Brett took it to another level. Ilse, he took it to the next level with us.
Well, and there's a big difference between times when these phrases are said. And,
exactly what I said about the movie.
That people need to pay attention to.
Yes.
Correct.
Things that mean something now meant absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing a couple of years ago.
When you were happy and gay 40 years ago, that was a completely different meaning too.
Yes, 100%. Now you say it. And it's
actually, it's probably longer than 40 years. Call it 70 years now. I forgot I'm going to be 60 next year, so that was put it way back.
He's so excited for like next year's birthday already. Like, do you hear this? He's like, I'm 60. Finally, I get to tell everybody I'm in my sexiest part of my life.
59.
Yeah, I can finally tell everybody I'm super sexy.
I'm super sexy. Guys, you can sext me. Like, good Lord, Brett. I love you to death, buddy. So, Brett, I do have a question. Oh, Ilse, go ahead.
No, I said kiddies movies and PG rated conversations in the same.
Well, it's either PG rated or it's BG rated. And BG rated tends to be a lot different.
Mute Brett.
Rated. Brett Gordon rated. So I like your attitude on that, Brett. We're going to install a voting system, I think, because we did this before. Is it entertaining enough? You can put the remote down or your phone down. If you can put your phone down, that means it's an entertaining show. But if you're looking at your phone at all during it, it takes the rating down. How's that sound, Brett?
Yeah, and I'm going to have a real challenge on Thursday because I am going to be en route to South Dakota.
Excuses.
And I'm not exactly sure.
I know. He's already 0 for 1, so.
Well, it's a matter of trying to settle somewhere for an hour and a half during the drive.
Sounds like you've already sorted out the problem.
It's just like talking crap. She's like, he can't do anything to me. He's not going to catch me. I'm in South Africa. There's no way Brett's going to come get me. Plus, what are you going to do, Brett? I run with giraffes and swim with the sharks. I love it. So, Brett, we actually have a really cool guest coming on today. Her name is Miss. Oh, let me make sure I open this right. Her name is Miss Sonia Lozada. Lozada. That's what I was going to say.
Lozada.
Sonia Lozada. So Sonia is a poet, a performer, and is fascinated with time, history, and dreams. She has played in many different areas. She's in many different. Hold on, her bio just clicked away. Son of good. I literally tried to open her bio, and it like all of a sudden I got like her webpage, and I lost my spot. So our guest and performer is a poet performer fascinated with the perception of time, history, dreams, and mindfulness, and the metaphysical. Her #1 best-selling publication includes Inspire Me Raw in 2017, Follow Akashic Dreaming Through Time. I'm going to have to ask what that is. I don't know that one, which was in 2019, and the Inspire Me Perception in 2019. Her upcoming book, Inspire Me in Time of Need, which is the third of the Inspire Me series, is poetry that has been Sonia's way of explaining bicultural world around her. She is an actor for both stage and screen, has appeared in such films as Out of This World, or Out of the Wild, and Expired, among others. Guys, she has a podcast called Poetic Resurrection, which was launched in 2021, and it has great acceptance. Her book Follow Akashic Dreaming Through the Time, currently being adapted for film. Do not go anywhere, because she's going to be here in the next 5 minutes, and we get to have some fun with her. I am excited that we get to interview her. Ilse is going to be on stage with me, laughing, picking on her. Hopefully the birds don't come over and peck her in the head or anything like that, but if they do, that's what. She has giraffes to defend her. I love it. So, as we're hitting this up, have you guys ever done poetry?
Only when I had to when I was in school.
That was when they didn't call it poetry. They just called it Poe. So,
the only thing I can remember is like the haiku thing.
Actually, that's all I remember too. I
have no idea what that is.
So
I can't remember anything.
Really? Like I sit here and I hated poetry in high school, but I was good at it apparently. So my teachers like would be like, "Oh, go take this class, go do this extra stuff," and like I do it because it like I didn't do my homework. I needed another way to get my points back up. So I would go to poetry class, and it would like I'd write these things. Now today I don't write any poetry. I haven't written poetry in years. I wouldn't go in front of a stage and read poetry, but maybe poetry is a way of helping get out of my head. Maybe there's a new way of finding ways of connecting with things. Would you guys be willing to try new things? Maybe write poetry, read it out loud, whatever?
I remember the term iambic pentameter because of the movie Patton. And Patton used to write poetry. And
I thought patents were
very
something you had to apply
eloquently.
for.
Huh?
I thought patents were something you had to apply for.
Yeah, that too.
I am lost.
But Mr. George S. Patton actually was a poet as well, which is really interesting when you think of the type of person that he was, but yet his belief in the Bible and his poetry kind of are a totally different side of the war general that he's known for. And everything makes up a person, so it's pretty interesting. But that's the only reason I remember iambic pentameter.
That's better than I remember. Ilse, do you write poetry?
I do not write poetry. I don't think I'm that creative. I haven't tried. I've never tried. I can get, when I talk, a couple of words to rhyme in a sentence. But then I always end it with, I'm a poet that I don't even know because it happens accidentally.
I literally have my first 3 questions written out about creativity and rhyming for poetry, and you hit both of those already. I'm like, wow, this is going to be interesting. We're going to be like rhyming and like rapping at the same time,
I will read poetry, and I think it's beautiful when people express their feelings and everything like that. But I never cared for those things in school. I did English because that's the only thing I was actually good in was my 2 languages, English and Afrikaans, and I wasn't even that great. But maths failed. Science failed. Well, not failed, but I made matric, but it wasn't the best mark. So, because I think school's overrated, I still do. I don't know why.
My gosh. Ilse,
I don't know why. I came out of school with matric. started working, and I have used nothing but the languages from anything, and I can work out the weight of steel and all that. I did not use anything. So if you want to go study further, then stay in school. But if you don't want to, then don't.
I'm not touching this one. I'm leaving her where she put it. I will get into that one in a minute. So Brett, we're gonna do Aladdin upcoming this week. We're going to be on Thursday. Brett's going to pull off to the side of the road. He's taking the live action. I am going to take the cartoon. I may sing live on air for everybody, but it is a battle royale of which one actually provides the most leadership qualities and why it's beneficial for us from two different generations. So, Brett, I look forward to our challenge, my friend. Are you excited for it? Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with a word from our sponsor, and right after, we'll be back in 1 minute, and Sonia will be with us.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, your delight when you need it.
We're back, and Miss Sonia will be on in 1 second. I see her camera's right there. Elsa, are you excited to interview Miss Sonia?
I am. There's so many things that she's interested in that I read a lot about, but I am one of those people I need to be explained in layman terms. I do not like reading. I like watching videos. I'm one of those people. I don't like reading. I like watching educational videos and stuff like that, and sometimes they just go a bit over my head. So I would like her to explain some of these things because I've read or heard about it in my videos and stuff.
I love it.
So I'm very excited.
I'm glad she's here. Miss Sonia, can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, you do not have to do the video. We can easily interview like this. I just wasn't sure.
No, you know what? I've been trying to put the video on and I haven't been able to do it. Let me see if I could unplug this and my regular one comes on.
Not a problem.
I've been having yes, but in the meantime, we can talk and let's see if I could work it out while I'm doing this.
I love that. I appreciate it. So I'm going to ask the first question. When I was reading your bio, you saw me stumble over the word Akashic, A-K-A-S-H-I-C. I may have a master. Yeah, you know how to pronounce it. I still don't know what it means. And instead of looking it up, I want to learn from the author and the writer herself. What does that mean? And how can I use it in a sentence properly? I feel like I'm in a spelling bee now.
Okay. Akashic Records is a philosophy, and in physics there's also a different one. It's called like the energy field that's around the earth. Supposedly all knowledge is there, and many of the greats say, oh, I had the idea that came in a dream, or I had the idea that came through meditation. And a lot of our famous scientists came that way. So supposedly they're getting the information from the Akashic Records.
That's amazing. I've not even heard that before. So like I was going to Google it afterwards. Now I have to. So I was reading your bio. I went and you came up on IMBD and everything. Like
yes.
Yeah, I love it. You can hear her smile in the background. Like, yes, I love it.
That is me.
That's me. Here, hold on. Watch this. I can do this. I know how to bring you in. And there is Miss Sonia. All right.
So
that way
beautiful.
She is beautiful. I know.
Oh, thank you.
So Sonia, when you talk about poetry, the first thing a lot of people think, like Ilse said, She made the comment about how she doesn't think she's creative enough for that. How do you break people's stereotypes from that? And how do you help people be able to like create their best creative self?
Well, you know, everybody's really creative, and it might not be in the form of art or, you know, writing, but people are creative in their own way. They're creative with the things they do every day. Some people are creative with how they fix their home. We are creative creatures. I got more creative, which is usually against the grain of what people think it is as I got older, I got more creative because I was able to meditate and shut my mind off because it does not want to shut up, you know? So doing that, my creativity just came in. But I think everybody's creative. We just have different forms of creativity.
I like that. I like that. How did I know this is we read on top of the Akashic, is it Akashic records?
Yes.
It says something about metaphysical as well. How do the Akashic records and the metaphysical relate to each other, and what is metaphysical for the people that don't know?
Metaphysics is, I think some people might call it, what's that? Uh, Science that hasn't been proven, probably. A lot of the old Greek philosophers were metaphysical. It's a form of philosophy that you think beyond the earth plane, but yet it regards the physical. If I can make, I don't have the exact definition, but that's what it's like.
No, that's perfect. I understand exactly what you mean there. Your your poems that you write, does it have to do with the Akashic records and those type of things, or what do you write about your poems?
Am I there? Yay!
Yay!
I was able to figure this out.
I love it.
We're so happy.
So what can I answer for you?
So what was your question you just asked?
I hope I get to structure it right. Do you write your poems about the Akashic records and the metaphysical, or what do you write your poems about?
This is going to sound very woo-woo, but I get most of my poetry and my writing from meditating or dreams. The reason my second book, Follow Akashic Dreaming Through Time, is called that is because I kept having these dreams every night, and they were really weird dreams. And they were so emotional. So there was one that all I saw was the potter. He was making pottery. He felt so sad. And then the date 300 BC showed up. So I'm like, 300 BC? Okay. So that's all I wrote down. So I started doing all this research on what kind of pottery existed in 300 BC. I went to Europe. I went to South America, Central America. The Aztecs all mess. When I got to the terracotta soldiers in China, I go, that's it. And the weird thing was, because the potter was so sad, I started doing all this research. And even though they were highly regarded and artisans, they still worked ridiculously long days. It was really hot. And there was a sadness because they're separated from their family. And that was the sadness I felt, that he wasn't by his family. So that's how one of the poems in that book came up.
That is so awesome.
Oh, yeah, it was kind of freaky at the same time.
Well,
do you ever try and interpret your dreams? I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Do you ever try or can you interpret those dreams that you have?
You know, sometimes I could relate them to something that happened and that I need to deal with. But this is like, okay, one, I never think about the terracotta soldiers. It's one of those bucket list things. I want to go to China, see that, and do the wall. But otherwise, I knew nothing about it. And as I'm researching it, it kind of fit with the dream and what I was feeling. So it was really kind of creepy, but I'm like, oh, this is so cool, you know? And I kept having ones like that, and then they stopped. So I was, so it was great. I mean, but they stopped. And I wish that I could go back, but now I lost that connection.
I'm sitting here and I can go in many different directions, from the rhyming with poetry, and how do we break that from people's like mindset, or is that something we should be thinking of? To, I want to know all about your Inspire Me series and how you put that together and what your goal is, because you just finished your 3rd book for that, correct?
No, I'm working on my 3rd book.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed.
I have all the stories. I'm in the process of writing. That's why my podcast is like, I went too crazy on my podcast, and I kept interviewing people and I'm kind of anal because I'm already in the industry, so I need to edit everything really well. And next season, I'm not doing that. Next season, I'm just going to write and interview poets and people that write. I was lucky to have a Pulitzer Prize nominated poet on my podcast. Yeah, I was very happy about that. So his name is Martin Espada. He's won awards all over the place. He's very famous. And but next season, it's going to be about poets. And what I do is, because I believe in being inclusive as part of what I am about, I'm going to have a poet from every different culture represented.
I absolutely love that. It's breaking barriers. It's exactly along the lines of like what you're trying to do, which is needed, because like you, in your bio, it even says you're explaining the bicultural world around her. And I read that before the show, and I felt those words in my heart. And I wanted to ask more about that. Like, with a bicultural world around you, there's a lot of anger. Like, let's just take away the government. Let's take away the disease. Let's take away just those other
religion.
Religion, yes. Like, people jump on these things, and they become triggers for people. But you're living in a bilateral world where those things don't match, and you're trying to bring a positive to all of this. How hard is it to keep yourself in a positive mindset through all of these like trials and tribulations? And also, you get next question.
Well, that one is, I got a long answer for that. When I was a little kid, I didn't know how to speak English. So even though I was born and raised in Chicago, I understood it and I could write it, because that's what you learn in kindergarten and 1st grade and stuff. But it was really difficult. So as a little kid, I would just jot down, little kids are roses are red, violets are blue, but I would just jot down poetry. So I've been writing it since I was a child, because I'd go to school and it was one culture, and I'd go home and it's another culture. And so the way of thinking was very different. My heritage is Puerto Rican, even though, American citizens anyway, and a lot of people don't know that Puerto Ricans are American citizens. I had it to be one way at home and one way outside. So that was hard. And that's why I started writing poetry. And in Time of Need, which is my next book, you know what? There's a lot of people I don't agree with the anger. I really don't agree with them at all. And I'm very liberal, so you know where I stand. But I saw such fear in their eyes. I saw that they were terrified. They're losing a world that they know. They think they're losing. And in reality, unity makes us stronger. I mean, could you just imagine if we all stuck together, how powerful we would be? It's just, but we don't. And to me, anything that's news or politics or even like conspiracy theories, if it causes separation, if it causes anger and hate, you need to question that. You need to question it.
I 100% agree with you. Miss Sonia, I think that's a great way of saying it. And I like how you're like, we're talk politics, and then you're like, I'm a liberal. But like, the truth is, like, when people hear certain things, they hear certain words, they trigger them. And we need to be able to break those triggers out of our own mindset before we go think others are incorrect or we need to push our opinion. So I think doing that's a great thing. have you always been a writer? And I'm sorry, Ilse, I took your chance for a question. I literally talk too much, but like, Sonia, have you always been a writer? Have you always felt this connection to that?
I've always been a writer, but I've always been very spiritual. And I didn't know I was spiritual because I really don't believe just in one religion. I think all scripture basically is saying the same thing. But as a little kid, my mom would call me the little saint because I would get dressed at the age of 7 to go to church by myself. And so, yeah, and because that was my intro to spirituality. I didn't know about other world religions. I was raised Catholic, so that's what I attached to. And then as I got older, I realized that we're all the same. It's, and with meditating, I learned to be grateful. And when you're grateful, you learn to be creative. And when you're creative, you learn to be accepting.
Why are you so passionate about the Akashic records and the metaphysics? And what would you like to teach people about that?
Well, I try to reach out to people in a way that everybody can relate. I try to make my stuff as simple as possible because I love poetry, but a lot of poetry, I have to tell you, I've read it myself and it's like, I don't know what they're saying. I'll read it over and over and over again. I'm like, I don't understand. And so I want to make it simple because I want people to like it as much as I do. And to me, poetry is therapy. And it could be therapy for anybody. For years, I wrote poetry and stuck it in a drawer. I was too ashamed to let people see it. I was too ashamed to let them see how I really felt. And so doing that, it was, oh my God, it just lifted so much.
Do you feel that your writing helped you connect more with Sonia, like the inner you?
Oh yeah, because I mean, it's like if you write a pros and cons list when you can't decide what you want to do, and you really want the pros to win, but as you're listing them, the cons are really the longest list. Now, sometimes I go against that if my gut feeling really tells me to go this way, but otherwise, I lost the question you just asked me.
I don't even remember it because I forget. You said I didn't even write it down because I asked it so spontaneously. So it was about writing and letting it be free, to connecting with your inner Sonia.
Yeah, because it makes you realize, because sometimes you want to say things, but you really can't. Like if you're really angry with someone, what you say, you can never take back. Correct. So to me, it's just, I've written it down. I just write poetry or I write a little short story and I express my anger, put it away, read it the next day. And I'm like, wow, I was really angry. I'm so glad I didn't say anything. Because sometimes anger doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's only your interpretation.
Have you wrote poetry in an emotional state that then you go back and read later and you're like, this is not what I really wanted to feel. This was emotions coming out, compared to because I feel like when I write and it becomes, oh God, this is going to be fun. Let me watch the person in the back's reaction to this one. So when I write, I feel it goes towards a depressive state or more angry. And he's shaking his head, yes. And that's not where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to be more like uplifting with it. But when people read it, they're like, oh, wow, that was sad. I feel sorry for you. And I'm like, what the hell am I writing that everybody feels bad for me?
No, I think it's great. I think that's great. Let me tell you why.
Talk to me.
You are expressing what your core is. And vulnerability is beautiful. Because someone reading that probably never knew that you were even sad. Because we have this outer shell of always being happy and being positive, and the work we do, we're trying to make people feel positive and like themselves. But in reality, we're human. We feel pain. So to write that, you can edit it and not make it so sad. But, I had people, when I first did my first book, it's called Inspire Me Raw because the emotions are raw. I mean, they're really raw. I'm a survivor of abuse. So
Sorry. I'm so
yeah.
sorry.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't with my family. It was things that happened to me outside the home, and I had to look at that. What was my lesson? I mean, a lot of things happened to me as a child. It's like, what is my lesson? And I really thought my lesson is I couldn't figure out my lesson, but what I can figure is I can help someone with my experience. And with that book, people wrote and they put all these notes on Amazon as reviews. Oh my God, I thought you were talking about me. Because if you go to the core, people don't feel alone. And also, if you go to the core, people have more compassion for you at the same time.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe that's why people go through the things that they go through in life, because some people just have it harder than other people, is to help people. Because I would have never thought to write poetry from my experiences and my childhood trauma and those type of things. And by you sharing your story on how you deal with that, makes a lot of people think how they can deal with their emotions themselves and everything. I read on your LinkedIn page, and I hope that I phrase it right now, is that one of your movies is getting ready for film. Or they getting it ready for a film. Did I understand that
Oh,
correctly?
okay. What's happening? That's the Akashic Records. We're taking each poem stands on its own like a story, and each
Okay.
one is a different time period. So it's like historical poems, but at the end, they all come together as the explanation of why. And I'll send you guys copies of it. It's it is I don't know if I should tell you too much about the book instead of
No,
let
please
you
tell
guess.
us. Please tell
Okay.
No,
us.
I was going to ask if you'd read us something from your book, like read us your
I
favorite
also
poem or
wanted,
something.
I also wanted to ask that.
I don't want to overstep and ask something
No,
that
no,
you
not at
maybe don't
all.
do. I just think it'd be fascinating to have you read something that came from your heart, and we hear the author actually read her poem. Like, if you don't want to do that, blame Elsa, because I don't want to take the blame.
No,
Blame me.
I will be happy. This is Follow Akasha Dreaming Through Time. And I'm going to, since I explained to you the story, this is the one about the,
Okay.
I
okay.
got you.
And it's, yeah, this one's called Thoughts of Children Playing. You're wrong. And I'll just read, since I explained that one about the dream in 300 BC.
Yeah.
Okay. Fire burns tall in the kiln. Hues sway of saffron, cardinal, amber, with hints of cobalt, mesmerize as the salty drops from forehead stings eyes. Hands bleed from the dryness of the yellow clay creating blood henna. Craft soldiers for Emperor Qin Huang, molding soldiers' figures, carved fine details. Body aches from laboring days, thoughts of children playing, yearning family. Outside the screams of whips upon the skin of convicts in the blistering purgatory. Death visited before 38 years. My handmade tile, tombstone. Ask and it shall be given. Silence, yet I followed.
That is so beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
That
you.
was that was really, really beautiful. You're an actress as well. You've played in some
Yes, I
movies.
am. Yes, I am. I have done a couple movies. I was happy to work with Harrison Ford. And yes, yeah. And it was funny because I'm on the set and I just had a small part. But I remember my agents, because being Hispanic, there's a stereotype that we all have to be maids. And so I said, I told my agent, you know what? I'm highly educated. Not every Hispanic is a maid. And I got on my soapbox. I'm not doing it. And he goes, "This with Harrison Ford." I go, "Okay."
We'll get the right, I'm going.
So my scenes were with Josh Hartnett and Harrison Ford, and it was funny. Because when we were off the set, Harrison Ford comes up to me and says, "Hi, I'm Harrison Ford," and without thinking, I go, "Well, duh." Then I went.
What did he say to that?
He started because I automatically went like this, right? So he started laughing.
Oh, I love that. Like, how many people get to meet Harrison Ford and do that? I guarantee he loved that.
You know what? I've always been. It was funny because since I've been in the industry for a long time, I have a couple of friends that are producers, and they would take me to like networking parties and stuff like that. And I said, and they would tell me, you know, the reason I do that is because you don't care if they're famous or not. You just are you know. And so you know, this is it. There's no ulterior motives. This is it.
I love it. Have you ever been in starstruck? Just curious, being
well,
there.
You know what? The only time I was kind of starstruck, and I wasn't even starstruck going in, I became starstruck on the set. I did an episode of ER towards the end where George Clooney was still there. And I saw him and I said, everybody's like, "Oh my God, you get to work with George Clooney. That's so exciting. Your scenes are with him." I'm going, yeah, he's good looking. But not a big deal. But I got on the set. That man reeks charisma. I mean, I was like, wow. And
really?
I did not. He has so much charisma. And I went and I told a friend of mine, and her husband met him. And he goes, "Oh my God, he's like a god." He goes, and this is coming from a straight guy. Yeah.
Right?
He has so much charisma. Oh my God.
Now, all right, hold on. I got to ask a question. I have to ask this about this because I saw his name on your website and I was going to, like, the only failure is to not try. And I was like, did he, like, that's quoted, it's him. I was going to ask if you met him, and then you're telling us about him. And now you're like, he's so charismatic. When you're with somebody that has that much charisma, that much of themselves that just exerts out, is it intimidating, or is it one of those things where you find yourself gravitated towards them?
I was gravitated, but it was like,
you're like, George!
It's me. Want to know another funny story with that man? Because he used to be part of Warner Brothers, and I lived right by Warner Brothers Studios.
Nice.
So I'm at the stoplight, and I see him coming in. You know, they take him back and forth in the park to the parking or wherever they need to go on those golf carts. Mm-hmm. So I see him coming and this is right after he did Seriana. So he had a beard. He was still a little chunky. And I'm looking at him and he's coming this way. And I'm looking at him and I'm looking at him. I go, I know this guy. And I went, and he was looking at me the whole time. He's going, how long is it going to take her to figure out? And then when I went, he started laughing. It's like, I finally got it because I'm like, I know this guy.
Oh my gosh, that is funny. Do you get a golf cart when you pull in, or do they make only the?
God, no.
What?
The only time they did that for me was I did Desperate Housewives, and it was at Universal. I live by all the studios, by the way. Universal is across the street from Warner Brothers.
I love that story.
My favorite thing of all of this is she's not name dropping. Like, she's like, oh yeah, George Clooney. She's like, oh, who the hell is that? Like, I know that face.
Who's it tell Harrison Ford? Duh.
Right.
I know, right?
I was filming in Desperate Housewives. I was the neighbor that was cutting the grass and throwing things at them, you know? Like,
I was the nurse.
Are you serious? Like, what is your most common role? Is it the nurse? I ask because of that.
I am any role that's service. Okay, I have been a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, a madam, a prostitute, a nanny. It's all service oriented, and I get like one time.
She's. I'm sorry. She goes, I've been this. She goes, prostitute, and then goes, they're all service oriented. I'm like, damn, she's so right. So right. Oh, that's funny.
So, yeah, go ahead.
What is your dream while being out in Hollywood? You've done Desperate Housewives, Grey's Anatomy. You've met George Clooney, Harrison Ford. You were a prostitute.
On the unit, I was a madam. Because you know what? I'm older, so I'm no longer the prostitute. I am the madam.
What show were you a prostitute for?
I was a prostitute on Harsh Times, directed by David Ayer with, oh my God, what's his name? Batman, one of the Batmans. He's actually English. Christian Bale. My whole scene is with Christian Bale.
He is a handsome son of a gun. I would love to meet him.
Everybody talks badly about him. He was the nicest, most fair person that I've worked with on a set. Yeah. There was one guy that was mistreating. He was a screamer and he was part of the crew. And he let him know that screaming at the people is not okay.
I like that.
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sonia, I could just keep being a fanboy and having you tell us stories, but I want to know more about your poetry and stuff too.
Oh, okay. But what would you like to
know? She's like, fine, I'll talk about my book, Well, I kind of want another story. Like, deep down inside, I love your stories. Like, you're making us laugh.
Oh, well, if you want me to read something else, this is Inspire Me Raw.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll get into a really intense one because that might make me too emotional on the thing.
Don't do emotions unless you can fake cry.
I used to get hired all the time for crying, and I told my agent. Yes, I told my agent. I'm like, I'm so tired of crying. Nobody's gonna think I have a sense of humor. And so he's like, he goes, well then. You'll get a reel together with all your crying. And then it'll be comedy.
How do you cry on the spot? How do you cry on the spot? Can you give us some pointers?
Yeah, well,
what do you do to cry like that?
Is one, you got to be in the character. You have to really believe that this character is going through this. And that character is you. How would you feel if you were going through this? So, and believe me, as a Hispanic actor or Latinx, I like, somebody in my family dies. Okay. And it's usually, let's see, I played a part where my sister got killed by her husband. I played another part where my kid died of a drug overdose. I played a part where my husband got killed by George Clooney's dad on ER. And
I'm sorry that the connection went right there. Go ahead.
I mean, it's just like, we're not all tortured souls.
Thank you.
But you might think differently when you read the book. But I have, let me see which one. I wrote one about a serial killer, but I could read Go-Go Boots. I don't know if you can.
Go-Go Boots. Bring up the Go-Go Boots. I want to hear Go-Go Boots.
Okay. At 10, made a mistake, told my teacher want to lose weight. First diet included liver once a week. Yuck. Different recipes, so nasty. That's not what I seek. Stood in line for a free lunch. Menu, peanut butter cookies, my favorite munchies. Want one? Damn. Hide one for me, please, when teacher's not looking. Don't want to get teased for falling off program on the first day. My mom states, you're only 10. No reason for a diet. Wanting to be model thin, groovy clothes, buy it, go-go boots, styling trend. Chubby clothes too short, regular pants too long. Big kid bell bottoms reach calf. Average size bells at ankles. Others smoke bongs, skunk weed smell, permeates halls, hide don't tell, jailbait and 68. What to do with weight? Insecurities begin. Entire life shit, same shit, wasted time, and now I'm fine.
Oh,
I relate to that so much. That is so beautiful.
Yeah, because I
relate to it.
was a fat kid. I wanted to get into go-go boots, and they would not even zip past my calf. So that's what the picture is.
Now, I gotta ask Sonia, like,
Yeah.
you write, you get these things out, you've done some pretty freaking cool things. Oh, by the way, you can use an F word if you find the perfect way to get it in there.
Okay, because I'm like, okay, better not.
Everything else is free game, but the F word, you get one. Like, Elsa and I already used ours today, so like, you get one. But were you ever a people pleaser in life? Like, I feel like that's a trick question, but I look at it as you're in movies, you're in shows, and you're a writer, you're out front. You have to really be confident in yourself to be able to do that. And if you've ever been a people pleaser, because this is where my question was going to go, if you were, how did you break that for yourself to truly love Sonia enough to not care what the F everybody else thought?
I was a people pleaser as a child. So I learned very early that this shit doesn't work. It doesn't, because I'm very empathic, and my nature is to nurture. So I felt that was being taken advantage of, and I didn't want that to be taken advantage of. So I learned very early that I have to believe in myself, and I have my mom was always, don't let people move, my parents, both of them. Don't let people mess with you, stand up for yourself. One time I came home and I was crying and I was maybe, I don't know, 9 or 10, something like that. And I come home crying because the kids were mean to me. And my dad says, did you do A to make it better? No. Did you do B to make it better? No. Did you do C to make it better? I go, no. He goes, and that's what you get.
Oh, I mean, he's not sugarcoating it, and he's making you look inside you. Very smart. Yes. Well done, Dad.
I mean, yeah, and it was a hard, thing to do. It's like one time he told me, wash the dishes. I go, I don't want to wash the dishes. They're going to get dirty anyway. And he goes, what? And you're never going to shower because you're going to get dirty anyway?
Fun fact.
I mean, damn.
Like,
he's you right.
Got me there.
Fine, Dad.
I did. I washed the dishes because he's right.
He is.
He's right. What are you going to do? You have to go beyond, and you have to repeat things in your life to move to the next step.
Correct. You do.
Oh,
sorry, Elsa.
If you had 5 minutes, because in your books you try, and in your poetry you try and explain to people, what's that word? The bicultural?
Mm-hmm.
If you had 5 minutes and you had the world's attention for 5 minutes, what would you say to them?
Well, being bicultural, you could be any other language besides Spanish. And the thing with being bicultural is you really have to live differently in two cultures. It's almost like your personality has to be split. But understand that that's a beautiful thing at the same time. If I think people were more bicultural or infuse themselves into many cultures, you get rid of anger because now you gain understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And we're right off the bat, being bicultural, you're trying to understand two different philosophies of life to begin with. Mm-hmm. My Puerto Rican culture, I mean, we were totally Puerto Rican. I was the first born in Chicago. I only knew Spanish. I only knew Spanish food. I only knew what they taught me. So going to school, I'm like, oh my God, this is so different. Even though I've always been a sociable kid. Even though I was a fat kid, I was a popular kid.
Sorry.
Because
I just love you two bits.
And because I like the underdog. I've always had, because I'm nurturing, so I always wanted to protect the underdog. My problem as a kid was that then all the underdogs just wanted to attach themselves to me. And I'm like, no. I'll protect you if somebody wants to abuse you, but I'm not exactly want to be best friends here. So I had to learn how to separate that, because you do, when you're understanding, people attach themselves to you like a soundboard. And, I don't want to take that in, so I wanted to be a therapist at one time, and I said, to listen to people complain for 8 hours, I'd shoot myself.
Actually, that's interesting because I was reading your bios of everything you've done. And the one that did catch my attention that flows with what you're saying is you worked as a spokesperson for Beyond Depression. Can you explain what that is and why your heart led you to that?
Well, it was an instructional video that played at doctors' offices, and it ran for a while. I did it in Spanish, and they picked me, and I didn't want to do it because, okay, medical terms in English are hard enough to say. Try to pronounce them in Spanish.
No.
Because in Spanish, everything goes like, they add all these extra to me, like, casamiento. It's like marriage, but it's marriage to be, or so everything has a ending on it that makes it longer. And I kept saying, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. They go, no, but you're so nurturing, and you're so, and people need that to know about depression. So I played a doctor explaining depression.
Wow.
And yeah, and what they eventually did, because it was 8 pages of dialogue, they put a monitor up for me, and I practiced. I had to practice how to say the medical terms, and it played for many years in different offices. They played for schools, medical schools, and stuff like that. But it was how to deal with depression, how to make it work. And I was replacing the actual doctor that read it, because you look at her and she's reading it and she's going like this. This is all you see the whole time.
Oh my gosh. No.
Yeah.
No.
So they go, we need a real actor. So I did it.
So with that being said, how's it in Hollywood? It's cutthroat. We are all told that. Oh, and you go to Hollywood, it's like it's so difficult and all that. Sonia, you've got a great career. You've done a lot of great things. I'm happy to say I get to know you now. With that being said, I mean it. Like, with that being said, what has been your biggest hurdle in Hollywood, and how did you get yourself over it?
Well, the biggest hurdle for me was in the very beginning. The reason was when I started acting, and I'm aging myself now. It was back in the 80s. No, actually, it was in the 90s. I was told I was too ethnic looking to work because there were no ethnic roles. And if there was, they were going to be given to the famous ethnic people, not me. And I couldn't get an agent, and I kept being told the same thing. And then we kept, then we went through like, we're all maids or we're all nannies kind of deal.
Mm.
And now it's wide open for the youth. It doesn't matter that you're Hispanic. It doesn't matter that you're Asian. It doesn't matter that you're Native American. Now you play roles of what you would be. I'm a poet and an actor and a writer and all of that, and a podcaster. I could actually play who I really am now, where before I wasn't. You were very limited. And the biggest hurdle was to think that if you're Latin, that anytime you hear bad news, you're going to go into hysterics and cry and scream. And that's not true. That's not true for all of us at all.
After your book launch now, what do you have in the making? What do you have? What's your future plans or future projects that you're working on?
I like to go back because we were writing the treatment for the movies. Yeah. And so now we're going to go back because during the pandemic, we used to sit and brainstorm. And it's with a guy named David Fredo, who I did the movie in Expired. It's about meter maids.
And I'm sorry, I was totally thinking like apocalyptic movie, stuff like that. I'm picturing Sonia with a gun just taking out zombies, like we're all about to be expired. So Sonia's like, no, I got your back. That's what went through my head.
I would love to play something like that. I always thought, so it's about it. And so him and I became friends. And so he read my book, and I was working. We were going to present it, write a treatment with another friend of mine. We were going to present it to Netflix. And so he goes, oh, I want to be part of this. So then him and I started writing. My friend dropped out. My other friend dropped out. So he's a producer. He knows how to do all of this, and he knows how to market it. So we picked one story out of there, which has to do about the 1950s. And so this is another reason why because everything happened in Capitol, and our story was about the House of Representatives, the shooting in the 1950s. I go, okay, I don't think this is the right time.
No, oh God, no, that would you're watching. Damn it, you guys suck in so many ways.
The only reason we picked that was because one, it's regarding my heritage, and I understand why it happened. And people don't know this, but back in the 50s, they were strip mining. The U.S. was strip mining in Puerto Rico. And strip mining, if you don't understand what it is, was they dig into the ground and they flip it over. So now you cannot grow or plant on it. So it was not allowing people that lived there to grow because they were strip mining. And there was a huge military base. Vieques, until I think it was the 80s, they were doing bombings on that island. And the other island, the other half of the island, people lived there. It was occupied. Oh, yeah. So we were going to tell the history, kind of like I could read you the poem if you want.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Ilse gave a thumbs up. I saw it.
Yeah.
While you're looking for that, Miss Sonia, you're running around, you do these things, LA, how has, and I don't want to go down the like vaccine, non-vaccine, how has your world turned with COVID being in there and the acting world being almost shut down for a year?
Well, the good thing is that I had other things that I can be creative about. And that was my writing. I started the podcast because I saw so much hurt and pain. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'm not going to stand in passing out food. Kudos to people that do. I felt guilty actually because I wasn't doing anything. I didn't go out in March. And I said, what can I do to give back? And so that's why I started Poetic Resurrection podcast, because it's my way of telling people, okay, you're okay. Here's an interview with a therapist that specializes in trauma to help you. Here's one that specializes in leadership to help you. So, and I really stay away from politics as much as I can. But my poet was a little political. I go, well, there goes my stance. You're
like, oh, crap.
But he only touched on it like one sentence. It was mostly about grief. And it was beautiful what he had to say about grief. And I think it was very important about how we lose someone. And he read a poem called Letter to My Father. And it's all about his father's passed away, but he's writing a letter to him. And it won all kinds of awards.
Yeah.
It was on NPR and everything. That's
awesome. It's that being vulnerable, because even if people don't understand it in that moment, they're going to one day have that emotion come there. And somebody that's been there, it's nice to be able to connect like that. Go ahead. You can read your poem. I'm excited to hear it.
Okay. It's called Fighting for Freedom. I don't know if you can see the picture. That's Puerto Rico.
I love it.
Okay. An island's rich port, Borinque. Woman's home in 1950s. Travels to Washington for nationalistic ideas. Young and fighting for freedom. The unrepresenting house ignores the years of people's cries. Vieques bombings where citizens live. Hurricane Maria's cruelty. Time of food and water scarcity. Death and suffering. Did you see? Were you listening? Angry. I followed. I really feel that maybe I should give you guys the end of the story, because it's like every poem ends with I follow, but you don't know what I'm following.
Yeah.
Until the end.
Can you tell us what you follow?
No, buy the book.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I wrote this and I kept having these dreams, but then I kept thinking of all these negative things throughout life. And I've read a lot of history, and the history states You know, people follow religion, people have followed their path, people have followed their beliefs, and they reach out to something beyond them, but it doesn't answer.
Yeah.
So it was about being angry with God.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But if I read the last poem, so I mean, I'm probably blowing it for sales here, but what the hell?
No, don't do it then. Don't do it. I want. I've shared the Amazon link. I've shared your website link and all that. I think it's, even if you did read it, I think the thing is, everybody needs to know that you're gonna, when we read it, we're gonna have an interpretation, because this is your interpretation of why you're angry at God. And while you've told us that, if people know it, they still have to read it and have their heart like open up what maybe they need.
Right, because in this book, it's about reincarnation of the soul. And the soul keeps doing, the same shit over and over, and it doesn't learn its lesson in the lifetimes. So then this is how it ends. Twinge of sorrow trembles life's stories, a visit to the earth of your creation. Accept rebirth of assignments, hastening and awakening of the spirit. Understand the lifetimes of hurt, anger, disappointment, sacrifice, and love. The creator of my malcontent has always been me. You never meant to harm with your expedited lifetimes. A need to be by your side. Comprehend the intricate truths as the celestial dove glides upon Akashic records. A grateful farewell as the Elysian fields emerge. Thank you, Father.
Very well done.
I have nothing to say after that. That was beautiful. I really want to read the book. I want to read this poetry. And that never happens with me. I never want to read.
Yeah. And, it's a very short book, honestly. It's like,
I think maybe that's why it's like, it just catches your attention, tells you what it needs to tell you, gets you on that right path, shows you that there's other people that also have had hard lives and gone through the same things as you and living by example. I'm definitely getting this book. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of us, when things go bad. Oh, thank you. A lot of people, I feel they're being punished by an outside source. And the reason I use Father, I didn't really want to get on a religious thing, but people would know who I'm talking to if I said Father.
Yeah.
I believe in universal energy. I do believe in God, but I believe in a God energy. I don't believe in the religious,
I always try and explain it to people like this. I said, if for people that are religious, if your God walks in you, how would you treat him? And that is how you should treat people that you talk to, because God's in you and in them, and it's just how you treat each other and what service you have for someone's highest good.
Yeah.
So I like your poems. I love it.
Thank you. Because if you look at it, if we are really in God's image, we are really brothers and sisters. We're children. Yes. We're his children. So how can you say, I don't like you because you have a different belief? I don't like you because you don't look like me. So
that's very true.
Yeah, and that is the one of the big reasons why I'm leaving South Africa as well, is because we've got the same. It goes both ways. It's not just white people, and it's not just Hispanic people, and it's not just black people. From each and every one of those, they have been hurt by past people and living in the same hurt and everything. So and that is why I'm leaving, because not a lot of people understand that. They don't see it like that.
And it's hard. Well, we have a lot of dichotomy in the U.S. right now, too. And what's sad is that I'm seeing separation within the families, fighting for politicians that don't even know they exist. It's like you're going against your family for someone. No, if it causes separation or anger, you need to question it.
100%. Miss Sonia, the way we end every episode, because we're coming to our last 5 minutes, is we actually dive into giving like an inspirational word, a comment, a favorite quote, whatever. I moved it back so Ilse gets bigger too.
Okay.
I love how your energy is. I think Brett says it like really well here. He says how Miss Sonia's belief system so empowering yet not tied to a religion, and I think that's I think that's very well said, well written, Brett. But the way we end every episode is with a positive affirmation, a way of speaking positive to everybody to help them get through their days, whether it's 9 a.m. like you're having, like you're with, or it's 6 p.m. like Ilse. We're here to uplift one another and spread that positivity to give us that shot at job of positivity and delight our day. Ilse, you'll go first, just because I feel like you should today. I'll go second, and then Miss Sonia, you're going to take us out for the end of the show. Sound good?
Okay, sounds great.
All right. Love it.
So I didn't write you guys a poem. I'm very sorry. But I got something to read for you. So I read this. This is just a message for the last day of August. And it says, growth is uncomfortable because you've never been here before. You've never been this version of you. So give yourself a little grace and breathe through it. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'm so happy to have met Sonia and spoken to her, and go out and help everybody and just be happy.
I love it. I love it. I think that her Elsa saying about breathing is essential right now. Just take a breath. How many times in life do we have a response that's very quick? It's very sharp. It's not related to what we're actually mad at or something. When you take that moment to take a breath and look inside, you're not doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for yourself to create your boundaries in you. And I think that a lot of us need to be able to help see that maybe we are looking inside, and that breath that we take, it needs to come out in another way, whether that's writing, acting, exercise, meditation. It's being able to separate ourselves to take that breath, look in, and what makes us better. Guys, I appreciate you all being here. Miss Sonia, you gave us an amazing message today. It was such an honor to meet you. Ilse, I love being able to talk to you every morning and just inspire people and bring a positivity. So guys, find what that thing is for you. Take a breath and don't let others influence the light that's in you. Thank you.
That's beautiful. I am so honored to have been on this show to begin with. And on what you were just saying, I have, and I'm going to use my own quote. I'm sorry, I'm plugging here.
You're good.
A losing war is the one we have with ourselves.
Talk about cutting right at the like you went right in and twisted, because it's so true. We're at battle with ourselves every day. That spiritual battle that we have inside ourselves. It's every day.
And yeah, should I or should not? It's just be. Take 5 minutes to quiet the mind. That's all you have to do. The mind is not a bad thing, but God Almighty, it has opinions. So
yeah. God does it. So, Miss Sonia, this has been a phenomenal episode. You have taught us so many things.
Thank
Guys,
you.
Do not forget to go give her a like, a comment, a share, a love. I heard this is Miss Sonia's website. It's in all of our streaming platforms. And I have uploaded her Amazon links right here as well. So take a moment today to let go of whatever you're going on and let it be that 5 minutes of just connecting with something else. Share love and spread delight today, because without you guys, this is all nothing. So, Ilse, you have anything to add?
Do you have George Clooney and Harrison Ford's number to send our link of our show to them? Damn.
No. I'm trying hard to get.
Wow, I did not see that coming. Anyway.
Why not? We always promote yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, okay, question, since I have 45 seconds. You say promote yourself. When you don't promote yourself, does it look bad that you promote others over yourself?
No. You
not you, I'm asking Sonia.
Sorry.
No, I don't think so, because we are where we are today because of the influence of others.
Very true.
For our teachers. So I think our teachers should get credit.
Very well said.
Again, mentors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it. Miss Sonia, once again, thank you. I will email you after the show a copy of your stuff. If you want to sit around backstage, you can meet Brett, tell him he's old. It was his birthday yesterday, so have fun with that.
Oh, happy birthday.
And we learned how to sing happy birthday in African yesterday.
Really? That must have been cool.
Oh, he brings himself in. He's like, I got this. Hi, guys. I'm in an audience. He's like, here's his name. He's like, I'll just jump in here. Don't worry. I won't have video or sound. Guys, thank you so much. Wish Brett Gordon a happy birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
He is officially in his 80s. We are all excited about it. Guys, give us a love, share, and don't forget to go connect with Miss Sonia. See you all tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining
Blessings.
us.